Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode by RCB College. Joining us today is our very own admission advisor from RCB College, Sonakshi Kapoor. Sonakshi is here to talk about the admission process of getting into a private career college, how to apply for student loans, and what are the things to look out for whenever you're applying for the application. Thank you so much, Sonakshi, for coming in. Can you tell us what are the first steps for a prospective student that they're going to take when they're applying to any private career college?
So, usually for any private career college, the very first step for any student should be to go on the website and explore the programs. First of all, it's very important for a student to know what they are going to pursue, what aligns with their future goals, right? Even if they want to switch between careers, it's very important to know what they want to do. Apart from that, next step after you decide what program you have to do, the next step that comes is your application form. For example, at RCB College, we fill an application form that's either online or in person. If you go through a website, it is going to be an online form. You just go on the website, you click on the application form, you fill in your details. It's just going to be basic details, your name, your number, your email, the program that you're interested in, the preferred schedule that you want to be contacted at. Apart from all of this information, two very important things that would be an ID, a government issued ID, and your transcript. You need to have your documents ready. You need to be prepared for a very short interview. It's not a very detailed questioning, answering, interrogation sort of thing, but it's just to know why you feel that you're aligned with the program that you're going to be pursuing. And the third thing is that you need to be prepared for the basic admission tests. Usually, for most of the colleges, it's either Wonderlic or Duolingo.
So, what are the key documents that are required for the admission process?
So, to begin with, the two main important documents that are required are a government issued photo ID and your transcripts from any previous education. Preferably, if you are applying for a private college, a high school transcript would work. But if you don't have a Canadian high school transcript, any other document that shows what you did in terms of education would work.
Okay, and all of these applies to the mature students as well?
No. So for mature students, they need to do a Wonderlic test, mandatory. And apart from that, they have two options. One, either they can conduct an IQAS or a WES for the transcript. That is just to verify your transcript in terms of Canadian standards. Apart from that, if you don't want to go with an IQS option, you can do a Duolingo test. That's a basic English test like an IELTS or CELPIP. It's just to prove that you know English, you're fluent in that, just in terms of the government basis, nothing like not in terms of questioning the student, but just to clarify that the student is fluent in English, they know how to read, and they'd be able to continue the studies.
Got it. Okay, and all of these exams can be taken online as well?
Yes, you have both the options. You can come in person, you can schedule a time, you can come in and then do a Wonderlic and a Duolingo on the same day, or we can send you the Wonderlic and the code for Duolingo, or you can do it at your place.
All right, perfect. Because I know with RCB College, we have everything online as well. So people can do it. But I think most of these colleges do offer online and in person things as well,
Yes,
right? Okay, so we have all of these options available for the students.
yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so those are the admission requirements. You have gotten those applications as an admission advisor. What makes the application stand out?
So these two things will always make an application stand out. One is the clarity of purpose, and the second is preparation. When a student comes in, you know that the student is actually here to study. The student is way more dedicated than like any other application. When they have all the documents ready, when they have their checklist ready, all ticked off, right? And when they are already prepared, what they are doing, why they are doing, they have clarity that this is what they're going to do. For example, if they take a medical course, right, and they had a medical background from their home country, right, then it serves like more clarity that the student was a dedicated medical professional back home, and they just want to gain a Canadian education, maybe for a promotion, maybe just to gain more knowledge, or to maybe see how their home country's education for the same program is different than this program.
The student has now applied for the college. They have all the documents ready. How are the student going to pay for the program?
Usually, the private colleges, have multiple options. They can either pay upfront, which is not something that most of the students prefer, or they can do an installment plan. Usually, here at RCB College, we have a 3 months installment plan. The student can pay in installments at their ease, or if the student wants more help, more eased out plans, we have that option as well. But something that most of the students prefer is student aid. They apply for loans and they apply for grants, and that is something they are more comfortable with, which is easier.
Right. Okay. So what talking about student aid, there's multiple types of student aids available. There's Alberta student aid, and there's Canada national student loans. What is the major difference in these all of these loans?
Honestly, Alberta Aid is a provincial program mainly for the residents in Alberta. It has about 5 to 7% interest. It's more easier as compared to, for example, private loans. For example, a bank. A bank would require a hard check, a credit check. They'll have more stricter uh, checklist in terms of like approving the student for a loan, right? Apart from Alberta student loan, if we talk about the national student loan, it's similar to Alberta student aid, but it's just more generalized. It's for the nationwide, anybody can apply. When you apply for an Alberta student aid, you are assessed for both the loans, national and provincial. So there's not much difference. It's just one's provincial, one's national, just like the name suggests.
So now we know about the student loans. How is the student going to apply for the student loan?
It's a really basic and a simple procedure. We help students do it on a daily basis, and there's just a checklist that you need to follow when it comes to a student aid application. First of all, let's talk about the documents that we would require. Uh, for a student aid application, first of all, it's important to know that when you're applying for a provincial Alberta student aid application, you're getting assessed for both national and provincial loan application. So it's just one application for both of them, which makes it more easier. So you don't have to go and apply separately.
Right.
What documents you need is, first of all, you'll need your driver's license. It is very important because that is how you'll verify yourself in the on the government website. Apart from that, you'll need your notice of assessment. You'll also require your SIN number. Everybody has that. Apart from that, you'll also need the school information: what college you're going to, what program you're doing, and what are the start dates. These are the basic uh, mistakes students usually make. The Government of Alberta offers multiple services that are available on their website, alberta.ca. So, to avail all these services, what we'll have to do is we'll create an account. So, let's create an account. All right. So, if you already have an account, you can just go log in. You can either sign in with Google, Microsoft, or use your email address. To ease everything out, let's start with a new account. So, we'll create an account for personal use so that we will sign in with Google. The easiest way would be your Google login or your Microsoft login, whatever you're using, because that's something you'll never forget. You will always have it handy on your phone, on all your devices. So I would just suggest go with a Google instead of going in with any other portal. So now once we open an account, we will edit. We'll add all our personal information in that. So you'll enter all your information, the basic information part, your date of birth, general information, your phone number, your address, right? After adding all the basic information, you'll verify your account. When you go to verify your account, they will either require a Alberta driver's license or an Alberta's identification card. As we talked about, this is an important document that you need in the process of verification. So I'm going to use my driver's license to verify my account. Once we select driver's license, it will ask for driver's license number. You'll see at the front, it will be a 9-digit number on the front of your driver's license. You'll add that, and you'll add an audit control number. On the back of your driver's license, there will be a number on the bottom right corner. You will add that number on this in this space. It will be a 17-digit number, and that is how you'll verify. Once we validate, it's going to bring us to the home page. We're going to start a new application. We'll go in, we'll click on apply. When you start an application, it consists of three very important documents, three very important sections. One's personal information, one's your studies, and one is your financial information. If you have a spouse, it will require their information as well, their SIN number, their financial information, and if any dependents you have. So when you start personal information, you check if your ASN is there. Most of the information will already be there since we already verified your account and validated your account. You'll just check if your marital status is there. If not, you fill in if you're single with no dependent children or married or other. Apart from that, you'll put in your citizenship status and your gender, address and notification preferences information. You'll just check if your address is already there since we already validated your account. It'll have your current address. If there's any apartment number, you'll fill in that. If not, then usually students skip this information. There's this question that asks, is this the address that you live in while you are in school? If yes, just click yes. If in future while studying you change your address, you can always come back in and change your information. And then just verify your notification preferences, your email, your number. That's about it. Then we go to next section. This is the additional information. If you've lived in Alberta all your life, you say no. If no, they usually require you to be in the province for at least 1 year before you apply. And apart from that, just basic questions. You fill in all the options. It's basic yes or no. Apart from that, you'll fill in your total income from line 15,000 of your 2024 tax return. You could check on your notice of assessment. You'll see the income and you'll add that information. And then we're going to hit next. And this will take us to our emergency contact information. You can put in anybody's information, their name, their last name, first name, their address, city, town, country, basic information. And then after you put that, you're gonna hit next. After you fill in all your personal information, you're gonna start study information. You go on, for example, if you're applying for RCB college, we just click search. We'll put in the institution name. We're going to hit enter and it's going to show up here. When we put that, since we have two programs, say you're applying for a business program, we're just going to write business here and it's going to show up. We'll select that. Since it's a 2-year program, when you're applying, you'll always have to keep it in mind that you'll always be approved for 12 months at a time. You select your specialization, you select what year of the program that you'll be in. Since this is a new application, you'll be in the first year of the program. You select the dates and then you hit next. You put in the information, you put in the exact amount that's written here. If it's the course load, for example, if it was 13,000, we'll put 13,000. Since 16,000, we'll put the exact amount. Computer cost is usually the amount that government gives as an allowance to each student. For example, if you have to buy a laptop and you don't have the funds for that, you can ask for allowance. You can request an amount here and the government will be able to provide you with that. After filling all these basic information, you hit next. Are you taking all your courses in correspondence? If yes, select yes. If no, then no. Will you receive a certificate or a diploma? Since our program, at the end of the program, you get a diploma, so you're going to select yes. And then we're just going to leave the student identification number. That's not for you to fill. All right, after putting in all the studies information, let's go to financial information. So in this, you'll put in any resources that you have that are dedicated in terms of your studies. If you have any resources already saved and you want to partially pay with that and you want help with the rest of the amount, that is something that you'll put in here. And any non-registered investments, any scholarships, anything. If your college is providing a scholarship to you, you can mention that. Once you've filled in all the application, you will select the proceed to submit button. It'll pop up if you have missed any information, so you don't have to worry about missing out on any information. You select the proceed to submit button, you select next, and towards the end of the application, you'll see how much you'll be approved for. You just put in the same amount if you're okay with it and select submit. That's how you do the application.
So thank you so much for explaining all that procedure of how to apply for student aid. Can you also please let us know that what is the timeline for applying for the student aid?
It's good to apply 4 to 6 weeks before your application or before your original start date, because it takes 2 to 4 weeks to get the application approved. And since you'll have more steps to complete once your application is approved, so it's good to have extra time on your hand so that you can complete your application, check if anything is missing, if they require more information from you. So it's good to have that 4 to 6 week gap between your start date and your application date.
What are those common mistakes that the students do whenever they're applying for student aid?
Very common but avoidable mistakes that usually students make is incorrect or inconsistent information, right? Or they would maybe not update the application. For example, if the address is changed, if the income was not put in the exact on that is on the notice of assessment, or not completing their MSFA after their application is approved, right?
So the income is mentioned on the notice of assessment?
Total income of 2024, line 15,000, is always mentioned on your notice of assessment. Always refer to that to put in the exact amount, because it's always better to have the accurate information just to avoid any delays in your application approval.
Thank you so much, Sonakshi, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me today.